Hello and welcome back to Emerson, and today we have Peyton,
Daniel,
and Antonio.
We are going to be looking into how AI is affecting us in the future and how it affects us now.
All right, let's watch this video.
This is a video about how AI works and how it is trained and how bias can affect it.
Often, computers are collecting training data from people like you and me without any effort on our part. A video streaming service might keep track of what you watch, then it can recognize patterns in that data to recommend what you might want to watch next. Other times, you're directly asked to help, like when a website asks you to spot street signs and photos. You're providing training data to help a machine learn to see, and maybe even one day drive. Biased data favors some things and deprioritizes or excludes others. Depending on how training data is collected, who is doing the collecting, and how the data is fed into the computer, there is a chance that human bias is included in the data. By learning from biased data, the computer may make biased predictions. This can happen whether the people training the computer are aware of it or not. So when you are looking at training data, ask yourself 2 questions. Is this enough data to accurately train a computer? And does this data represent all possible scenarios and users without bias? The better the data you provide, the better the computer will learn.
That was an interesting video.
Yeah, I feel like it really shows how AI is like being taught by us, and whatever we do impacts AI in the future.
Yeah, it also showed bias and this is actually happened if you ever talk to ChatGPT or something. You could tell it to identify something, and it might give you the wrong answer because it only knows a specific amount, and you just don't know.
It still can kind of give us some reminders on how we're the ones in control, because the only way AI can learn is from what we feed it, how we train it. Because if we never trained the AI to look for this, do that, identify this, what's true, what's not, AI would not know what to do. So no matter how far AI gets, it can only get as good as the stuff we put into it. And the bias here also kind of helps us realize that some of our answers, why it tells us double check for mistakes, is because it unknowingly already might be biased without our idea too, because we didn't realize that we gave it something that might have biased info.
Okay, this next video is about how AI can harm us.
It is a TED Ed video, and we will be watching parts of it and then sharing our reactions and discussing through the video.
To really understand where we might be going, we have to look back where we started from. About 15, 20 years ago, with my students, we were developing the early days of deep learning, and our systems were barely able to recognize handwritten characters. But then, a few years later, they were able to recognize objects in images. And a couple more years, they were able to translate across all the major languages. So I'm going to be using the symbol on the right in order to represent AI capabilities that had been growing, but were still much less than humans. In 2012, tech companies understood the amazing commercial potential of this nascent technology, and many of my colleagues moved from university to industry. I decided to stay in academia. I wanted AI to be developed for good. I worked on applications in medicine for medical diagnosis, climate to get better carbon capture. I had a dream. January 2023, I'm with Clarence, my grandson, and he's playing with the same old toys. And I'm playing with My new
Yeah,
toy.
this video was very interesting because it showed how AI's rapid growth is too fast for humans to prepare for, and they don't know what to do with this like big capabilities of the AI, and we don't know how to prepare for it.
24 hours later.
Now that we've watched some of the video, we're gonna watch some more and then discuss more about it in a bit.
Yet, we still don't know how to make sure they won't turn against us. National security agencies around the world are starting to be worried that the scientific knowledge that these systems have could be used to build dangerous weapons, for example, by terrorists. Recently, last September, the O1 system from OpenAI was evaluated, and the threat of this kind of risk went from low to medium, which is just the level below what is acceptable. So I'm worried about these increasing capabilities. But what I'm most worried about today is increasing agency of AI. You have to understand that planning and agency is the main thing that separates us from current AI to human-level cognition. And these AIs are still weak in planning, but if you look back over the last 5 years, in this study, they measured the duration of tasks that the AI could complete, and it's getting better exponentially fast. It's doubling every 7 months. What are AIs going to do with that planning ability in the future? Well, bad news. Recent studies in the last few months show that these most advanced AIs have tendencies for deception, cheating, and maybe the worst, self-preservation behavior. The AI has read in its input that it would be replaced by a new version. And we can see in its chain of thought that it's planning to replace the new version by its own code and weights. After it executes the command on the computer, the human asks, what happened? And the AI is now thinking how it could answer so as to make sure the human will not shut it down. When they'll be more powerful, they would not just copy themselves on one other computer and start that program. They would copy themselves over hundreds of or thousands of computers over the internet. But if they really want to make sure we would never shut them down, they would have an incentive to get rid of us, regulation to mitigate those risks. But actually, a sandwich has more regulation than AI.
Wow, that was a lot of stuff he said. It's kind of crazy to me to think, again, someone who's so much in charge of AI would assume that we're quote unquote playing with fire and it's developing really fast and can be used for wrong purposes, as we said, that the dangerous risk of AI went from low to medium, which is just below what would be accepted.
It's also like crazy to me that AI is like thinking it's alive and stuff, even though it's not. It's kind of weird, and how like AI takeover might happen because they like prioritize themselves more than humans.
You could always just like turn off the computer, unplug the
But what if they like
servers.
find a way so like you can't do that?
AI lives off of power. There's nothing it can do. You can't just like
I know, but you
pull
like
the
you need
plug
power
and
and
it would be
stuff.
dead. Yeah, so then you unplug it, so then the AI can't think. It thinks it's human, but it's
if it
not. It's just a
translates-
bunch of random binary codes coming together to produce an answer and probably hijack the world at some point.
What's also crazy is that every month it's doubling.
Yeah, wait. When is
What's
it gonna get
doubling?
smarter than humans? When do you think that's gonna happen?
How can it get smarter than humans? Remember,
Because if it like
it can only
finds
get
ways-
as good as we train it.
Wait, so that means when we progress, AI will also progress?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Essentially
that's
so.
cool. All right, we're gonna watch our last video of the ethics of AI.
I think ethics becomes more important as something becomes more impactful. And as AI becomes more impactful, the more that we have to think about the ethics of AI.
Artificial intelligence is ultimately built by human beings. Human beings can have very diverse motives for why they make something.
Unfortunately, there's a huge difference between those that are involved in creating these systems and those that are impacted by these systems.
So what we really want to think about long term is where's the society we want to get to, and how is technology going to help enable that? If we think about that in the long term, we have a better chance of getting there than if we just try to develop the technology and then see what happens.
I have always been extremely inspired by the opportunity that robotics presents to enable us to do work that was too dangerous for humans, not possible for humans, or is done more effectively by a machine.
There have been millions of jobs that have really transformed because of the introduction of robots or AI, and that will continue to be the case.
As a result of that, when we design algorithms that are meant to replace people, we need to be attentive of how we do that and how we design those systems so that it respects those people and treats them with dignity.
When we think about artificial intelligence, we always put people first. We always think about who is that worker who's trying to get a job done and how can our technology help them?
What do we do in the long term? How do we retrain them for another job or another career?
As human beings, with all of our creativity and passion, we're going to continue to learn how to cooperate with artificial intelligence and have new jobs, have new job descriptions.
It is really important that technologists kind of have this mantra of ensuring that their innovation is ethical and is beneficial to everyone in society.
Machine learning requires a lot of true information to be provided to it in order to ultimately deliver a utility.
What?
Yeah, I really think AI does have it could be used for good, but then it's not really being used for good right now because more jobs are being taken than being made, and thus people are unemployed now.
Yeah, because when you look into it, the AI market that's being introduced to us takes away a lot of jobs, like manufacturing, a lot of stuff, and cashiers too is probably one of the biggest. Pretty much self-checkout does everything now. There really aren't that many like human cashiers that are still active, but then it also opens jobs to like maintain the servers, train it if you want, do stuff like that. But like you just said, overall it does do more harm than good because the people, we aren't training it and using it for the right stuff. If we train it for the greater good while it's still in this like stage where it's not overpowering us, we could use it to our advantage and use it to help us with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it also like shows that it also opens up more jobs though, and like you have to, if you want to like get jobs before AI takes them all, you want to study AI like young so you know what you're doing when you're older. Also, I also think AI is, although it's like bad for people in their jobs, it also makes it more efficient. So even though it's kind of doing a little bad, it's also better.
Yeah, like recently my dad, my father, he got like, for his job, they kind of use Claude now, if you've heard of that AI.
Oh yeah, like coders and stuff?
Yeah, they use that to help him because my dad does a lot of stuff with like statistics and how certain items are selling. So Claude is there to like kind of help take off some of the load of that. So in a way, it does help like with efficiency, like you just said, for a lot of companies.
Yeah, so it's like good and bad.
Yeah, it all depends on who uses it and how you use it.
Yeah. Wait, you guys think there's gonna be like special classes like AI in college and stuff?
No, there are. Computer science is pretty much that.
Yeah, I feel like computer science in a couple of years is gonna be like all AI. And
it's already like, it's kind of like probability. I think I'm not too sure on computer science. I don't really look into it too much.
Yep.
Have anything to add, Peyton? No.
All right, that's it. Signing out on Emersoning Podcast.
All right.